Would you say Wendy's a little bit spoiled?
In some regards, I mean, she gets a lot of help, for sure.
Is she a little less savvy about how the world works than you are?
I don't know. I mean, you gotta ask her.
Could you trust Wendi with a secret that could ruin your life?
It's not a secret. It's something that would get me killed, so I didn't want to tell her.
Can we agree that she obviously knew something about this crime?
She found out when she came to court. I never told her anything.
I'm talking about the murder of Dan Markel. She knew something, right? I mean, it's not a coincidence she went to the crime scene, is it?
You're talking about the route that she took that day?
I'm talking about her pulling up to the crime scene tape.
She never went to the crime scene. She was going to buy a bottle of liquor that, coincidentally, the person sent her a stock the bar party buy a bottle of Bullet bourbon that she was going to pick up. She wasn't driving to a crime scene, and I think she made that clear too. Nobody knew a murder was taking place.
She pulled up to the crime scene tape, Dr. Adelson.
She didn't pull up to the crime scene tape. She was driving down the street and then had to make a U-turn. It was blocked off. But she wasn't going to.
She couldn't help herself.
Nobody knew a murder was going to take place.
She exposed you all to some degree by those actions, didn't she?
No, not at all.
And then she threw you under the bus in her interview, didn't she?
Nobody knew a murder was going to take place.
She knew her husband had just been shot, and they were asking her who would want him dead, and she said your name. Are you mad about that?
No, she said a lot of people's names.
In 2014 and 2015, during the time of these events, you were a member of the Latin Kings, right?
Yeah.
And that's a crime family, right?
It's a family, yeah.
Commits crimes, right?
I mean, every gang does.
It's a gang.
I guess that's what you want to call it. I call it a family.
How long after the murder did Garcia seem to have a lot of money? Like, for years after the murder? For weeks after the murder?
Probably weeks, months.
Okay, so weeks or months he was spending money like crazy, right?
Yeah.
But after that, he was broke again.
Yeah.
What was he acting like?
I mean, he's himself. You can never tell. But he drinks a lot. He does a lot of coke. But he was frustrated.
Okay, so he was jealous,
Absolutely.
angry,
Yeah.
pissed off, drunk.
Every day.
Okay, and heartbroken, right?
Yes.
What was your defense when you were tried?
That I had nothing to do with it.
All right, that we got it right in reference to Charlie Adelson, and we got it right in reference to the killers,
Yes,
but you
ma'am.
weren't in the middle.
Yes, ma'am.
Was that true?
No, ma'am, it was not.
Were you in the middle?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
So why tell the truth now?
I believe that the truth needed to come out now so that the family can get some type of closure.
Why didn't the truth need to come out last year, or the year before, or the year before that?
I was trying to defend myself.
You were trying to get off.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you think you'd be successful in your trial with that defense?
I thought so.
Has anyone promised you anything for your testimony here today?
No, ma'am.
Weren't you originally offered immunity for cooperation in this case?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
But you didn't take us up on that
No, ma'am, I didn't.
because you thought you could get off completely.
Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
And now you're doing a life sentence.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
He and his son had a dental practice. He was well respected in the community down in South Florida, which has a lot of resources, and I'm sure that if anything were to take place, they would be extremely smart about it. But I got a vibe from him like, I know you suspect me, and, I'm done.
And after the murder, do you recall going to a dinner where you got sick at the table?
It was about a month later, and yes, I remember.
Where did that dinner occur? Was that here in Tallahassee or somewhere else?
No, it was in Miami.
Was that dinner a celebration of the murder of your ex-husband?
Absolutely not. That dinner was the first time I left my house after over a month because I was terrified. And if it was a celebration of anything, it was a celebration that I was willing to leave the house and eat a meal.
Then she tells you, according to you, that my client, Charlie Adelson, says that she had a celebration dinner with Charlie, and that the celebration dinner was about the murder of Professor Markel.
I don't recall saying that last part.
But that's how you took it, right?
I worried that was the case. I told the police, and my understanding is Wendi conceded she threw up on her dinner table.
Do you know that the first time you told the police that was in March of 2015?
I do know that.
So what happened in September of 14? What happened in October of 14? What happened in November of 14? What happened in December of 14? January of 15? February of 15? You still didn't think that was important to tell the police?
I'm happy to answer that. I think you deserve an explanation on that. You may have noticed in my March 6, 2015 interview, I come in with notes, big pile of notes. Those notes are written in July of August. They're written pretty quick after the murder. I didn't come in right away, partially because I was scared of your client. I was scared of the repercussions if I went on the record further about my suspicion. So I was reluctant to come back in because I was frankly scared.
Oh, I get it. You were scared of him in August of 14, but you weren't scared of him in March of 2015.
Now I decided to man up. I decided it was a homicide and needed to man up. That's the decision I came
Right.
to.
You weren't scared to tell him that my client had actually looked into a hitman a year earlier. That didn't scare you. You could tell him that in July.
No, I was.
Hold on, sir. Let me ask the question.
Fair enough.
In July of 2014, you told police that Charlie Adelson, you heard, actually looked at hiring a hitman. You weren't scared to tell him that.
I asked for police protection. I was scared.
I have a whole routine with my son. I mean, I think it's normal with kids. You have a routine to put them to bed.
Right.
You
All
gotta
the
brush
kind
your
of
teeth.
things.
Can't forget to brush your teeth.
Yeah. A little dental humor couldn't hurt, right?
What's that?
All right, I want to talk to you about an incident back in on June 1st of 2016 at about 11 a.m. Do you remember two law enforcement officers coming to Adelson Institute?
Yes.
I mean, it's not your office. You can't get that record.
No, yeah, they said within 20 days of accordance with Florida statutes, provide above cause with reason.
Are they there now, or do they just stand?
They're there, but you know, I'm in the back. I'm in the back. They're just waiting for me to come back.
Oh, and they want records?
Yeah.
Do me a favor. I'm going to call you from a landline on your cell phone, okay?
Okay.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Do you remember previously saying that you didn't remember what happened when he called you back on the landline?
I don't remember.
Have a good day. Members of the jury, we're going to take our lunch break at this point. Once again, I'm going to remind you of the thing that I always do. Do not discuss the case with each other or anyone else. Do not watch any news coverage. Do not seek out any information concerning this matter.
Do you recall saying to Dr. Charlie Adelson, I don't owe you shit. I'll be on the phone with the FBI today. Get your affairs in order before prison, punk. You're going to rot in jail, you mom, fag. Do you recall saying that?
I mean, if you're reading it, then I did.
You open your mouth and I will open mine. Watch, motherfucker. You're a miserable Jew and you're going to get what you deserve. Do you recall saying that?
If you're reading it, then I said it.
I dare you to threaten me again. I'll be on the phone with the FBI before you blink, you murderer. Do you remember saying that?
Yep.
Get fucked. I'm going to get you in jail. Do you remember saying that?
I guess if it's in there.
You ever heard of a website on Facebook called True Crimes Blog, True Crimes Case, the Dan Markel case? Let's discuss. You ever heard of that?
Yes.
You're just posting pictures of Charlie on that website this week, right?
I don't know.
You want me to show you them?
What difference does it make? What does that have to do with anything?
May I approach, Your Honor? Does this refresh your recollection of a picture you posted of Charlie on that website just days ago?
Yeah, it's a good picture.
You say you have nothing to gain from this case and you don't really care and you don't want to be here, right?
Right.
Just on Tuesday, do you recall writing to someone, I want to propose a wager. Let's see who gets involved. The over and under on Life Plus. Laugh out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. You posted on there that you were going to help get this man a life imprisonment, right?
I don't know that it suggested that I was helping him do anything. I was just speaking my opinion, which that's free speech, and that's what all the other idiots on that thing do as well. So,
I want to propose a wager. Over under on Life Plus. That's what you said.
Yeah.
No further questions.
Ruth
Right.
said to Wendy's mom, Donna,
Today.
at the service, I'd really like to see the boys. And Donna kept walking away with the boys. And Ruth turned to me and she said, I hope what I just saw didn't actually happen.
What was wrong with Dan's mother trying to make arrangements for the kids in the event of your arrest? Wasn't that a kind thing to do?
I don't think it's kind to put my children in foster care.
Wasn't the foster care intended only to cover the time frame that it would take for her to get on a plane and get here?
She never said that.
You thought she was just going to leave them in foster care?
I don't know what to think. They have a mother. They don't need to be in foster care.
But they wouldn't have a mother in the event of your arrest, Ms. Adelson. Wasn't that the intention of the email?
I don't know what the intent of the email was. I was not going to be arrested for a crime I didn't commit.
She didn't know that though, did she?
I don't know what she knows or doesn't know. I can't speak to that.
Do Dan's parents know whether you committed this crime or not?
I don't know how to answer that question.
How would they? Particularly back at the time that she sent that email. It was fresh at that time, right?
I'm sorry, what was fresh?
All the events that were occurring, the arrests.
That was 2 years after Danny's murder. I don't know what she knew or didn't know. I know that my children don't belong in foster care.
Was it a specific foster care that she was requesting be called in the event that the children had no place to go and were going to be going into the custody of the state?
She did suggest a specific foster care agency.
A Jewish-run foster care agency?
A Jewish foster care.
Okay. How many times have the kids visited Dan's parents since this murder?
Many. It's going to be hard to count.
Countless times?
Countless times.
How many times have they seen him in the last year?
We had a visit with Danny's dad and the boy's cousin this summer. We've had a lot of Skype visits. They do live in Canada, so it makes it a little bit harder to have in-person visitation. But every time they've asked for it, we've arranged it.
Every time they've asked for a visit, you've arranged it?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times have they seen him in the last 5 years?
Again,
countless?
As in the last 5 years, that overlaps with the time when they tried to put them in foster care. So since we've reestablished relations, we've seen them about twice a year, whenever they come down to Florida.
So in the last 5 years, they've seen him how many times? 2 or 3 times a year?
About that.
Has this been a major issue between you and Dan Markel's parents? This issue of them having access to the kids?
The issue of them trying to put them in foster care is a major issue.
No, ma'am, that's not my question.
I'm sorry.
Hasn't the issue of them trying to get access to your kids been a major issue, at least for them?
Since they tried to put the children in foster care, yes. Before that, it was not a problem.
Are you familiar with their work across the street at the legislature trying to get bills passed to give grandparents rights to see kids?
I'm familiar with their grandparents' legislation, but it's actually unconstitutional.
state your name and spell your name.
Hi, I'm June. I'm Chinda. It's June, first name, last name Umchinda.
You don't have to, I don't think you're going to have to lean that close to the
Oh,
microphone.
okay.
We can let you know if we can't hear you.
All right, like that.
Where do you live, ma'am?
I'm in South Florida.
Do you know Charlie Adelson?
Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. It was my alarm to come here, down here.
Is it silenced now?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Wait, let me just check if it's, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I don't want it to snooze. Okay.
It's okay. Do you know Charlie Adelson?
I do.
How do you know him?
He's my ex-boyfriend.
Do you still have feelings for Mr. Adelson as we sit here today?
So he's my last serious boyfriend, so I would say yes, that there's something still there. I care about him, but obviously I haven't seen him in God knows how long, so.
Have you ever heard the saying that the simplest explanation is always the most likely? Have you heard that?
I've heard that theory before, yeah.
Was your explanation to the jury over the last little over a day the simplest explanation?
It was the truth.
Do you, I mean, you have a thorough explanation. Would you agree with that?
I told you what happened.
Do you agree that the only problem with having an explanation for everything is that there's just so many explanations?
There's no explanation. I explained what happened.
On August 25th, 14, that would have been after the breakup, right?
Yeah.
You text her, and then she replies, I don't need help, I'm good. Don't need favors, nor will I trust anyone again. Erase my number, please. Go on with your life like you did already and have been doing. Sorry we spoke today, I don't want to stress your life more. Don't do anything for me. Do you remember receiving that text from Katherine Magbanua?
Yeah, sounds familiar.
And that's a pretty weird text to get from the extortionist. You're meeting her to give her money. Why is she saying erase my number?
She's not the extortionist.
On
In 2014, I didn't think she was the extortionist.
Right, but it's been revealed that she was.
In 2019, so you're taking what was known in 2019 and you're trying to say I knew what I knew in 19
I'm not trying to say you knew. I'm trying to say she knew. She knew she was the extortionist. Why is she telling you to erase her number and leave her alone?
Because I broke up with her.
Exactly.
Yes, so this talks and these be 2:18 in the morning, or I'm sorry, 2:18 in the afternoon of October 6th. There's communication about him being a good father, potential to be a good father.
Okay. And she's saying that you have to find the right girl that you can deal with and to see if she's worth it?
Yes.
Okay. And what's next? And if she gives you hell, Katherine Magbanua will set her straight, winky face, and he says, I love you. It makes me feel good that you care about me. I'm very lucky to have you as part of my life. And he says, I'll always care about you.
That's correct.
Or she says that, rather.
That's correct.
Yeah, I cared a lot about Katie, and I didn't think that she was a part of this. So I was always trying to keep her happy and make her happy, and I felt like she got dragged into something that she shouldn't have been dragged into.
Okay, maybe, but she dragged you into it as well.
I didn't see it like that at all. And our relationship actually got stronger. You know, initially when I got extorted, I had limited contact with her and I was cold to her. And then over time, I realized that she's the one who's protecting me and she's not involved with these people because the extortion never went up and Katie was always broke.
She was involved with them because she had a child with the guy, right?
I didn't know for sure it was him, but
you suspected always that it was him.
I always suspected that Sigfredo was behind this.
Are you angry that according to your brother's theory, he and your mom have known who killed your children's father since 2014, and you weren't told who it was?
I'm more angry that somebody killed my children's father.
So you're not mad about that they knew this whole time? That's what they're saying.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the
That's
question?
the theory of the defense in this case, is that that he's known the whole time. Your brother's known what happened to Dan. Does that make you angry?
I'm angry about so many things, it's hard to...
Is that one of them?
Separate them.
Well, try.
I'm confused. It's hard to process.
And apparently, according to his lawyer, these killers had threatened to kill your brother's family members as well. Did you hear that?
I did hear that.
And that would be you, right?
It would.
Were you told that a specific threat had been made by the same people that had killed your ex-husband to kill your brother's family members?
I was not told.
Would that have been information you would have liked to know back in 2014?
Yes.
Would you have made the same decision to move down to South Florida, closer to the killers?
No, I would not.
And even after the killers were arrested in 2016, you weren't told that that's what was going on the whole time.
I found out yesterday.
You could have told her, Katie's down on her luck and I'm just going to be putting her on the payroll. I mean, you were making enough money, you could tell her to just write checks, couldn't you? Why'd you have to tell her it was an extortion from Latin King gang members?
Well, okay, at that time I didn't know anything about the Latin Kings. But when I told her what happened, I was thinking that, it actually would be good if someone knows what happened in case I get killed. They at least know what direction to start looking in. So until that point, nobody even knew. So when she started questioning me, I just said, you know what, I'm going to tell you, but don't say a thing to Dad. Don't say a thing to Wendi. You got to promise me. I didn't want her to ever talk about this again. And that was the day that she found out, is when I got the checks.
What she doesn't say on the wire is, it's happening again. I was approached by another extortionist today. Does she say that?
No, she's talking very carefully.
And you say carefully, but isn't carefully the same thing as code?
No, they're two totally separate things. You know the difference?
You weren't really giving her money for a TV, were you?
Giving her money for a TV.
This TV is probably going to be about $5. I
Okay.
need you to bring cash tonight.
I wish she picked another object on planet Earth other than TV. But TV is code for absolutely nothing. There is no code in this case involving TV. And you keep circling and circling and circling TV, you're wrong.
Is it a coincidence that the repair of the TV that you bought Wendi as a divorce gift because it was cheaper than hiring a hitman is your sister's alibi for the murder, and then your mom brings up TV first call on the wire?
It's not an alibi for a murder. She had a broken TV. You got to ask Lincoln, who threw the remote at the TV.
Was it a coincidence? Is the TV thing a coincidence? That's what I hear you say.
Oh, that the repairman was there that day?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is a coincidence for sure. There's a
And
couple
all
of coincidences in this case.
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I said there's a couple of coincidences in this case. I mean, she had people send her an email to go buy a bottle of Bullet bourbon for their Stock the Bar party, and she was driving to a liquor store to buy a bottle of Bullet bourbon on that day, at that time, and her friend sent the email, and you have the email and evidence. Like, is that a coincidence? Yeah, coincidences happen.
And that you might not be the right Katie talk. That doesn't seem to really fit with your theory of the case, does it? What was your explanation for that? Why you kept saying you might not be the right Katie? I mean, she's definitely the right Katie, right?
Absolutely. She knew it was. I was implying it was her. I was just trying to say, I'm not setting you up, but I need your help.
Luis Rivera took a picture of a barn owl on the first trip to Tallahassee, and he posted it on Instagram. When Wendi Adelson is interrogated on the day of the murder, she's wearing an owl t-shirt. The Greek word for owl is tuto. Tuto is the nickname of Sigfredo Garcia, the man who shot Wendi's ex. Has Georgia considered that the orchestrators of this murder purposefully stacked outrageous thing upon outrageous thing in order to make this entire thing sound crazy to any jury?
Look, for a second, she picked up her phone and goes, she's in the bathroom. And I thought that was like some kind of code for something or other. She's like, she's in the bathroom. And I'm like, is she in the toilet or is she in the bathroom? I'm like, that's like a mission. I'm like, what's she trying to tell me? like, can she, I was like, asked her, has she flushed, or is she still floating? I want to flush.
Why is it a whole bathroom scene?
I want to flush.
No, she wasn't flushed. Okay.
So I'm fucking
I was
thinking, I thought this was like code. I'm like, Katie, is she flushed or is she in the bathroom?
Oh my God, it's too funny.
And then I'm about to tell her, well, call me back if she's flushed.
Stop, my nerves are doing that.
I made it clear I want the problem flushed.
Charlie, you like to talk a lot, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize how much I talk until I listened to all those tapes, and evidently I do. I mean, I knew I liked to talk, but didn't realize how much.
Yeah, the other thing is this, is that I'll let you on a secret. People, if someone doesn't want you to know what they look like, they wear a hat, they wear glasses, they put on a beard. They, you know, you could look at for $5 at the costume store, you can buy an Abraham Lincoln beard. You put that.
Well, let me ask you if you've ever worked on or heard of a case where an extortionist commits their crimes wearing a fake Abe Lincoln beard and a floppy hat.
No, I'm not.
Did it seem like he was comparing it to something else?
To me?
Yeah.
It seemed like he was comparing it to a TV show.
Fair enough.
Why did Garcia and Rivera, or whoever did it, I guess I should say, why did whoever did it need to kill someone to extort you?
You gotta ask them.
Well, why couldn't they just come put a gun to your head and say, give me all the money in your safe?
Thank God they didn't.
Thank God they didn't?
Thank God they didn't. I would have gotten killed.
If Garcia hated you, why would he drive to Tallahassee twice to kill someone you hated?
It sounds like he was part of the extortion, or Katie put him up to it. These are highly connected people. Luis Rivera, the head of the Latin Kings, in custody means absolutely nothing. If you think he can't send somebody from the outside, you're wrong.
All right. So my question to you is, did that happen? Because you told yesterday.
Was I killed yesterday when I was in jail? No.
And nobody in your family has been killed so far.
You're talking about in the last 24 hours?
Right.
Not that I know. That I suspected that she was not telling me the truth and she was a part of it was in 2019.
At her trial?
Yes.
All right. And so she was arrested in 2016, right?
Yes.
All right. So for 3 years, she was in the Leon County Jail awaiting trial, yes?
She was there.
And you believed she was innocent.
Yes.
And you had this whole explanation to assist with exonerating her, right?
I have the truth of what happened, yes.
But you didn't offer the truth of what happened, did you?
Nobody came to me. I thought the truth would come out.
Does someone have to come to you?
I was told not to talk to Katie and not to talk to anybody about this case by counsel.
Did you have any contact with the thugs that were getting your money for 2 years?
No.
Did anybody put a gun to your head?
I was told that I would be killed in 48 hours if I didn't pay up.
I heard you say that, but
Yeah.
my question is, did anyone put a gun to your head?
You asked me, did anyone pull a gun on me?
That's what
Is
I
that
asked
your
you.
question? No, nobody pulled a firearm on me.
This woman, the extortionist, is going to do you a solid by negotiating with the Latin Kings for you to get on a payment plan for the extortion. Isn't that what happened?
What you're doing is you're taking what we know in 2003 and trying to say, this is what I knew in 2014.
Did she put you on a payment plan?
Yes, she said, because I didn't have the money, she said, asked me if I could pay $3,000 a month in 2014, and I said, yes, I can.
Did you hear any of the conversation where she was making these negotiations on your behalf?
No, when she said, I'm going to go check with my friend and if that's okay with him, she took her purse, took her keys, took her cell phone, she walked out of my front door, closed the door behind her, and I sat in my living room and she came back about 5 minutes later.
You didn't want to talk to the guy yourself?
No, I didn't even think of that. I mean, but she went outside to call him.
All right, and then the two of you took a Xanax and went to sleep.
Well, I took a Xanax. I don't know if she took one out of the bottle, but I definitely did.
And the next morning, she left with your money, right?
She left about 8:30 the next morning.
That's July 19th, 2014.
Correct.
Let's talk about what you did that day. You did not report this to the police because you were in fear, correct?
Absolutely.
And you didn't report this to Wendi, even though, according to you, her life was in danger too, correct?
Potentially, but I planned on paying the extortion every month.
Would you agree, Doctor, and we'll refresh your memory with them if we can, that the text messages that were exchanged between yourself and Katherine Magbanua on the morning after this exchange of money were inconsistent with your extortion theory?
They were inconsistent with how I was feeling.
They don't appear to look like you just gave her $138,000 under duress, do they?
She told me the last thing she said to me before she left the house is, can we just pretend like this never even happened? So when I sent her that message, I was trying to show her, like, I'm trying to forget all about it.
Yeah, you were just demonstrating to her that you would agree to pretend nothing happened, right?
Absolutely, that's what she asked me to do, and that's what I tried to do.
So the text messages aren't what they appear to be. It's a beautiful day, I'm going to the pool, I'm going to the beach, I'm going to the gym. None of that is what it appears to be. It's something else.
I absolutely did not go to the gym. I was trying to show her that I was, pretending like nothing ever happened and looking past it.
And there's
But I
nothing
wasn't.
on the wire. All those hours of you talking. There is nothing on the wire about the extortion, this layer 1 of extortion, because she told you not to talk about it, right?
She told me to never talk about anything to anyone or her. She never wanted to hear about it again.
And yesterday, in your testimony, between you and your attorney, you mentioned the word extortion 123 times. Would you take my word for that?
I'm sure it came up a lot.
Okay. But nowhere, even in the midst of this whole second extortion, it's happening again. It's an extension of the same thing. Do you mention anything about this layer 1 of the extortion? Do you?
Yes, actually I did.
Okay.
If you pull up the video from Matsuri when I was sitting with my dad and I said, and the funny thing is, that's what I whispered in his ear.
Right, but we can't hear that.
Right, because that's my point. I never wanted anybody to hear what had happened. I never wanted the police to come talk to me. But if you put up that video, you'll actually see me saying that into my dad's ear, and that's why I went in and said it. And that's what we were talking about at the time. So it's
At
relevant.
Matsuri, the only time you mention the extortion, it's in a whisper that is not picked up by the microphones, right?
Intentionally, yes.
Yes.
Oh my God, I didn't even tell you. One of my friends used hot belly pig.
How'd the cutest what?
Hot belly pig.
Hot belly pig?
Yeah, you know what a pig is?
Is law enforcement commonly referred to as pigs?
Yes, that's correct.
And this was the last call that I included. Are there several more discussing how sure he is that it is in fact law enforcement after reviewing this call from that the mother made?
Yes.
In terms of an undercover operation, what does the term mean to get made?
To get made means that they figure out that the undercover is a police officer.
After the clip that we just watched, is there any more relevant discussion to our investigation during their meal?
No.
The long list of plans that you went over with Mr. Rashbaum that you were going to have in Tallahassee post-murder date, none of those plans happened, right?
No.
Because you moved to South Florida, right?
Because I felt unsafe to stay here, yes.
And did you feel safe in South Florida?
No.
When did you learn that Katherine Magbanua was blackmailing your brother for the murder of your ex-husband?
Today.
So he never told you
No.
You testified in Katherine Magbanua's murder trial last year, didn't you?
I did, yes.
And she was convicted.
She was convicted, yes.
Of murder.
Yes, of murder.
Of murdering Dan Markel.
Of murdering my children's father, yes.
A crime for which she apparently is innocent because she was just a conduit for Sigfredo Garcia. Did you learn that today along with all of us?
Well, I learned that someone made that argument. I don't know whether it's true or not true.
Okay. You have no knowledge of it.
I have no knowledge.
In all the years this has been pending.
In all of the years this has been pending.
Your brother has known who killed your child's father, and you didn't know.
I did not know.
When was the last time you talked to your mom? Did you talk to her today, yesterday?
I talked to her yesterday.
In her emails, and we referenced one of them while you've been here on the stand, she talks about you giving performances and playing roles. Did you discuss anything about what you would do here today in court with your mother?
No.
Were you involved in any way in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
Absolutely not.
Did you know it was going to happen, but maybe not know the details?
I knew nothing.
Is that why you went to the crime scene on the day of the homicide?
I did not go to the crime scene on the day of the homicide.
Do you know who all was involved in the murder?
Well, I learned today, but at the time, no.
Okay. Have you ever privately confronted your brother about his role or possible role in the murder?
My attorney has advised me not to have conversations with anyone in my family about the case.
But you had a close relationship with your brother at the time of the murder, right?
I absolutely had a close relationship with my brother.
And how soon after the murder did your lawyer advise you not to talk to your family about it?
In 2016.
Okay, so what about the 2 years in between? Did you talk to him about it then?
I mean, I talked to him about the fact that a murder occurred, but I guess I don't understand the question.
But you never talked to him about the suspicions you raised in the law enforcement interview that your brother might have done it?
No, I did not.
You suspected your brother could have been a part of this, right?
I suspected lots of people could have been a part of it.
But he was one of the people, right?
While I was talking with law enforcement for 6 hours, terrified out of my mind, I offered them every possible idea I could come up with.
Right, and one of the possible ideas was that your brother could have murdered your child's father.
I didn't really believe that was possible.
Was part of the plot for you to be able to have plausible deniability about this?
Absolutely not.
Is it better for both you and your brother if you don't know the details of this?
I don't even understand the question that you're asking me.
When did you first become aware that you might be a suspect in this case?
I mean, as the ex-wife, I assumed I was a suspect from the beginning.
What was your first thought when you were asked if anyone might have murdered Dan Markel for your benefit?
I thought, oh my God, maybe if I hadn't divorced him, he would still be alive. Maybe this is my fault because I complained to the wrong person. Maybe Danny gave a student a bad grade and they came after him. I just was trying to think of who possibly could have wanted to hurt him.
But you didn't say any of that before. I mean, the first thing you said was Charlie, right?
I don't think so.
Page 25 of your interview, line 5 through 15. Do you have any reason to dispute? Page 25, not 5 hours into it, you say Charlie might have done it. Do you want the culpable parties held accountable for murdering the father of your children?
Absolutely. I'm grateful they're already in jail.
But not if it's your family.
It's not my family.
I mean, somebody hired them, right?
Not necessarily.
Somebody paid them.
I learned something this morning.
Yeah, me too. You didn't want them held accountable if it was your family members. Didn't you tell law enforcement that?
That's not what I told law enforcement.
What did you tell law enforcement?
I told them that the person who did this should be held responsible and that I had nothing to do with it.
Page 122, lines 7 through 12. If somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The investigator says regardless of who it is, and your answer is, I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother.
But I don't think it was my family, is what I say.
Different now, isn't it?
No, it's not different. That's exactly
different
what I
today,
said
isn't
right
it?
here. No, that's not right.
No further questions.
Do your children know anything about their father?
They know a lot about their dad.
Do they have a picture of him in their bedroom?
Each boy has a picture of them and their dad over their bed that we say good morning to and good night to every day.
How are your boys doing?
They're doing very well, thank you.
How has your job prospects been since this case hit the news?
Objection, relevance.
How are you doing?
Objection, relevance.
Has this affected your life negatively or positively?
Negatively.
Does Charlie love his nephews?
Very much.
The quote is, if they had any evidence, we'd have already gone to the airport. And I know you already testified about this, but does an innocent person say if they had any evidence?
Right. Katie's saying it's the police, and I'm saying that we're innocent. They're not going to have any evidence to show we were part of something that we were part of. If we had any part of this, we'd be going to the airport right now. And I
Isn't
still say
it
the
true,
same
doctor,
thing.
that they're not going to have any evidence because you were careful?
No.
Count one. We, the jury, find as follows as to count one of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Count two. We, the jury, find as follows as to count two of the indictment, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Count three. We, the jury, find as follows as to count three of the indictment, solicitation to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder. So say we all this 6th day of November, 2023.
Hello, this is a prepaid collect call from
Charlie.
an incarcerated individual at the Leon County Jail. This call is not private. It will be recorded and may be monitored. If you believe this should be a private call, please hang up and follow facility instructions to register this number as a private number. To accept charges and consent to this recorded call, press 1.
Thank you for using Securus. You may start the conversation now.
Hey, honey.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, last thing I heard was you said, and the chief, and then it just went through.
He was supposed to fly. He's the same guy who said he was going to call Dan back when I first got here. Never called him back. But Chief's back. He's the chief of the whole jail. So come by and check me out.
There's a lot of things that we have to do, and we've got a very tight time frame. So one of them involves taking care of some things for Roman, taking care of some things through Steinberg. Dad's been on the phone all day, and Susan was nice enough when I called her. She said, I'm going to gather everything up and I'm going to drive down. So she and Rick got here about, 10 minutes before you called so that she could work with us because we got a couple of hours of stuff to take care of for Roman. So working on that, and just a lot, but you're going to be okay. You're going to get out of that stupid room. Once you do, you'll start to feel a little bit better. I know that. And when I have something that I do need to tell you, I'll speak to Dan. Okay? So then I'll let you know what time to call him. Can you hear me, Charlie? Shit. You can't hear me again, right? Charlie, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm sorry. The fourth time that they cut the line each time. The fourth. You have to pay for every minute, but they keep charging every time you reconnect. They say that doesn't happen. Listen. that he's in this room that so the psychologist, they want to make sure he doesn't kill himself. So the psychologist finally came and he said to her, if you leave me here, I'll kill myself. There's no light, no nothing. I'm in a cement block. Let me go back to myself and see where I am. That means, please don't leave me here. And spoke to him for a little bit, and she said, no, you're perfectly fine. I know that. I just have to go back and, I've got a few of these reports I have to write. Once I get those written and then submit them and then get them approved, you'll be able to go back. So he thought he was going back in an hour, but said that she better get that thing done because I'll lose my mind in here. It's just all spirit on the inside. So all you see is yourself. The lights never shut off, day or night. These fluorescent lights, he says, are on all night. He said, I just want to go back where I was. But at least I know people. I can see people. He says, here, I'm in a box. So he's just... What? I'm sure he'll pull back or just keep getting disconnected. I didn't even know if he was drinking. He wasn't buying Coke, transported, nothing. So I can try to get my shoulders. Because we're in a very, I think, very tight time. Because I could have walked. What? But I don't want to do it. What I want to do. But part of that very I think would be a nice way to just leave me alone and say goodbye. I am not for myself. Go to prison. It's something he didn't do. I can't push it. I'm not that strong. And I also know how he, in a year and a half, his body and everything has slowly started to deteriorate. I'm old. I have a life. We had a great marriage. Happy. We traveled. We lived good. I really am not unhappy. And I'm more than willing to just say goodbye and let me lie down. It doesn't painful. I just want to go to sleep. We bought our cemetery property a couple months ago. We're good. I'm good. But when you did this weekend, because I said something that made her feel like I had enough, and I'm not going to watch. If the trial doesn't go well, I know what I need to do. Now, am I doing time now? Do I want to go to sleep and not see my son? I do. Perfectly honest, I do. And we'll do it together. We'll do it together. Leave a note. They'll know when to come and get us. And we'll do it together. The boy. Look, got to make a decision at some point. So after speaking to Dan this morning and knowing what they're thinking up there, and I don't know if we'll make it out in time. I really don't. But Dan said, you might, or you might do all of it, get to the airport, and they'll stop us. And that could happen. It could happen. I don't know. But it's worth a try. When I said, I just got off with Charlie. He's worried about you. He wants to know why. Oh, because I said, yeah, we know you never ask anything about your brother. And she doesn't. And she told me it's because her lawyer said she shouldn't ask. But we found out it's not true. But we just got off the phone with him.
My attorney said no. And he asked her attorney. Her attorney said,
I never told her that.
But I've never confronted him.
No. So I wrote this last night. We know you never ask anything about your brother. This is 8:00 last night. But we just got off the phone with him. And the first thing he asked was, how's Wendi holding up? I didn't have the heart to tell him that you never called us or asked about him. I just said, we weren't up to phone calls right now. Everyone looks to protect you. I bet you've got a lot to think about. But then she didn't answer. So then I got another call from Charlie night, and I said, just got off the phone with Charlie. He's worried about you. He wants to know why we didn't speak. I told him a lie. I said, we're only speaking with you and Dan right now. I couldn't bear to tell him the truth. Your sister never even called us, is the truth. So she says this morning, I thought she'd be racing over here last night. Yeah. Dear Mom, I know you are upset by the verdict, but the anger directed at me is not justified. I don't know how much anger is. Really don't. I'm not responsible in any way for Charlie's situation. I am not guilty because I did not do anything wrong, and I was not involved in any way with Danny's death. When I was interviewed by the police and testified in court, I told the truth, as I was required to do. I cannot control how the prosecutor used my statements at Charlie's trial. Again, I didn't say that. Also, as you know, my lawyer has advised me not to talk to my family or anyone else about this case. No, about the case, which is true. We've never done it. I followed his advice despite your disagreements with this guidance. Please do not text me about this case anymore. Not about the case, is it? Not what I said. About her brother, and that he wants, how are you, Wendi? How's my sister holding up? Yeah. If you have anything further to say about the case, please go through our lawyers. Right now, I have to be singularly focused on taking care of the boys during this difficult time. So I wrote back, okay, we have no desire to speak with you about the case. I guess Dad and I are just shocked that you didn't think of coming to see us or even calling us. We are your parents. We are and have always been there for you and the boys. None of what we wrote matters about the case. That's over. I just want you to know how many times Charlie is asking about you. Not only do you not ask about us, but not one question about Charlie, right? We will need to give you some information shortly, and we need some business assistance. Please let us know if you can be of any help. I have a safe here. I want to give her codes. We're going to be gone. I want her to have all this information. I have the cemetery property. I want her to see all that. I want her to have all these papers and the wills. I want her to see all this. So please let us know if you can be of any help. The other thing is the visa, which she would know about. No, I said we need some business assistance. Please let us know. If not, we'll try to find someone who can help us. This needs an immediate reply so I can start asking other people to help. And then she always gets nervous if we want to talk to her. So I wrote, don't get nervous. Again, nothing, in capital letters, nothing about the case. Just would like to show you some business stuff and personal things. If you can't do it, we must find someone who can. I hope you understand that it has nothing to do with the case. There is no more case. And then I wrote, by the way, you said you have to focus on the boys. Have you told them? So when I got George before, I said to him, because I was over there last night, I said, well, I asked Wendi, but I haven't got any word from her, so did she tell the boys? And he said, she did. Now, I know Ben was very close. She was writing to Charlie all the time. So I said, how are they? Ben was very quiet. He didn't really talk much. He said, Lincoln kind of faced it and said, so he's never coming home. He's never coming back. And so he said it took him 10 minutes and he was into basketball. I said, fine. He's a child. That's okay. I don't want to see them miserable and upset. That's not my goal. I just want to know how are they. So that's what I said earlier to George, because it was technical stuff that I couldn't do on the computer. I think just because we were out of it. So, and he's a computer tech person. So I said, can you help me with some computer stuff that I can't get done? And he was on some business calls, and so that he texted me just before I can be there, maybe 5:30. Would that be good? I said yes, but if I can get stuff done, then it's no.
I told Rick we have the space in the passport.
We have the photos. We have to get them downloaded. And the other thing I don't understand that my daughter could help me with, but we've been looking it up over and over because things change if there is extradition from Vietnam. Because we've looked at all the places. I mean, I could go to Korea and China, but there's no extradition. But we're looking for places where there's no extradition.
In 15 minutes.
Who? Really? Good. Maybe she knows about. Maybe she can look up the extradition issue before we waste our time.
Is she going to tell on you that my parents are thinking of leaving the country?
My lawyer told us to do that.
Okay, but if you mention it to Wendi, is Wendi going to tell somebody?
Well, you tell her beforehand. I need to tell you something as an attorney who doesn't talk and has nothing to do with the case. It just has to do with Mom and I and some decisions that we have to make. Yeah, I know you want to bring her up and show her where everything is. It's in a plane crash, no one's going to know where anything is or who belongs to what. So I would like her to come up here so she could see it. I don't think that's asking too much. She can live 3 hours away. Every time she says, can you do this? Can you come here? Can you do this? Everything. How many times do we have plans that I really can't and have to cancel? Wendy needs us for this. Wendy needs us to babysit. So we've been really good nannies, and I guess our job is up. Because now the boys are older, they can go out with friends, they can do things on their own. So she doesn't need grandma and grandpa. Okay, pretty hurtful. I have one son that I don't speak with. I have one son who's close to being dead. And my daughter, whom I love, is doing this. I don't get it. I don't get it. I said to Harvey, I swear to God, our family was cursed. Absolutely cursed. And I don't know how to take care of it anymore. So.
Hi, how are you? You have your ID? Recognize me? Yeah. You're under arrest for your cell phone? No, I don't want to give it to you. Why do I have to?
Because my attorney said not to.
Why do I have to give it to you? This is evidence. Evidence. Ma'am, do me a favor. She's under arrest. I have to go with you. I have to go. I have to look at you don't have that choice. Let me help you out. No, I have to stay. Please don't do this. Don't stay. You need to grab the bags. Take the bags. Yeah. And you need to wait outside. Okay.
My husband's almost 80 years old. He can't
Yeah,
come
I
with
can't.
me.
Please, can I go? No, you can't join me there. Oh, don't do this, please.
Please.
Oh,
Someone's got to help him get home. This is terrible. You can't do this. This is insane.
You can hold on to that for me?
Is that okay with you?
Please, you don't have that with handcuffs on. She's not going anywhere. Please, please. You have anything in your pocket?
No, no.
Do you have anything of value in you?
No, I
Plus, you have a necklace on. You
Wanna
can
go?
take it off. I'll take it.
Yeah, take it off. Yeah.
And the earrings.
And the earrings, the rings, take everything. You give it to your husband. Because once you arrive at County Yale, they're gonna make you remove all that.
Can I call my attorney?
You can.
You have a passport already?
Where am I going?
Open your finger.
Where am I going?
You're going to the Dade County Jail.
Dade County Yale.
Broward County, right?
No, this is right here, the one on top.
I'm sorry, remove her earrings? You're making a mistake. It's another mistake. It's two mistakes. And try to take the ring off. See if we can get this off for you.
Can you take it off, please, Donna? I don't want to hurt her.
Please.
Just a minute. Just a minute.
Please.
It's getting there. Hold on, honey. Listen to me.
Yeah, I'll call.
Get in an Uber, go home.
I will.
Take
I
it
will.
easy.
I will.
All right?
Yes.
This is crazy.
I love you.
Okay.
Give me 1 moment, please. Hold the body. 1 moment.
Thank you.
Airport 30 here, too.
All units, please adjourn.
Go louder.
The warrant that they have from you is from out of Leon County.
When did they issue a warrant?
So what happened is we have to take you to our warrants room for that information to get entered, and then after that gets entered before we can take you to the jail, to the local jail.
Okay, because I didn't know there was a warrant. How would I know that?
Well, we wouldn't have been able to take you if there wasn't something in place.
So aren't they supposed to inform? Aren't they supposed to inform me if there was a warrant for me?
Well, I don't know the details.
I don't either.